Alright, family, this is for my empath. Empaths only. Empaths only. Nobody else listen to this. It's for only the empaths. Empaths, I want to tell y'all about my testimony. Right here in the fifth seal. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. Now, it's time for my testimony, y'all. And I've already received persecution. So now I'm fixing to tell y'all what happened to me. I'm in prison, y'all. And one day, I was sitting right here at this seat with four other guys. Or three other guys. Four of us all together. We was smoking some dope called K2. This is whenever I was at my lowest, y'all, and building up to this day. There were some weeks went by when I had got on this drug. Weeks. And every time I smoked this drug, I started getting more aggressive, more aggressive, more aggressive, more aggressive, more aggressive, and more aggressive, until I started hearing a voice. And then it got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger through the weeks. That voice finally took control of my body. Now, one day, I got into an altercation with five people. With five people, five gang members. Five gang members. And they was armed, and I wasn't. But this person, through these weeks right here, I began changing. And this people named me Chad. Whenever this guy showed up, they named it Chad. Now, I had a run-in with these gang members, and this guy right here took over. This guy, Chad, gave me superpower, y'all. Superhuman strength, speed, and agility. I was possessed. I was demonically possessed, and he was using my avatar, my body, to harm people. To harm people. This was lasting for weeks. I began a gradually ascension of aggression and anger and rage until it come to a head right here. And I got into a huge altercation. And these guys right here didn't know what in the world to do with me. They couldn't kill me. They couldn't touch me. It was like I was protected. But then again, they were afraid of me. And I was afraid of myself. So here I go. These guys, I don't know if it was someone, but one of them ran to the door and got the officer's attention. And the officer come in while I was fighting with another guy. And they had me locked up while they got away scot-free. But anyway, they took me up, put me in segregation for 3 days, and put me right back in there in the same dorm beside it, in this dorm. And this is where it began. I got into another little slight altercation, but it didn't lead to nothing. So we squashed this little beef. So here we are one day on this K2 drug again. And I had my knife laying right there in front of me. Not nothing big, just a little something to cut stuff up with. And I rolled that K2 up in some tobacco and put it in a rolling cigarette. And whenever I hit that stuff and exhaled the smoke, Chad took completely over my body. It told me, matter of fact, it done like this. It picked up that knife and looked at it. And it said, "Good job, Ringo. You done a good job sharpening this." And it felt the sharpness of the blade. He said, "Oh yeah, really sharp." And it turned that knife like this, and it said, "Stab him in the face now." And it was talking about this guy sitting right here. And whenever I drew my arm back to stab him, my heart wouldn't let me do it. And I threw the knife. I threw it. And I yelled, "Take this away from me." And as soon as I jumped up from this chair, that sucker right there, Chad, body slammed me. Y'all, let me tell you something. My body began going, bouncing, sliding across the floor. Here, yonder, got through here and yonder. Now, these other inmates that had contraband cell phones, they was videoing this. They started videoing it whenever I was body slammed right here. So there was a video of this that I watched. And my consciousness at this time was going in and out of my body by whatever had possessed it. They were fighting. My consciousness was fighting with this consciousness of possession of my body, y'all. So my consciousness was going in and out, and I could see my body getting thrown around, tossed and turned, tossed and turned, tossed and turned, thrown here, back and yonder. And I finally wound up, slid up against this rail, boom! And I staggered to my feet. I had one hand on the rail, and I had one hand on the chair, and I cried out. I said, God, help me. Give me one more chance, and I'll live for you. And at that moment, I stood up, and it was like I floated into this chair right here. I laid my head back on the table, sat right here, my feet sprawled out, my hands and arms out this way, and I was looking straight up in the air. And right here at the ceiling, I saw a portal, y'all. I saw a portal open up right at the height of the ceiling, and I saw something coming down through that portal towards me. Now, when it got right here at the end of the portal, everything disappeared. Boom, it was gone. And I knew what I saw, but I couldn't understand it. But as soon as it disappeared, y'all, it was a split second, and it felt like I was peeled like a banana from my head to my toe. It was like getting a bucket of water poured on me, but in reverse. That's what it felt like when whatever come through this portal pulled that demon out of me. So now I fall. Boom, I'm sprawled out on the floor. Now my consciousness left my body. I couldn't move, couldn't do nothing. I knew I wasn't even breathing. I knew my body wasn't breathing. But I could see me laying there. And I had this thought out here. I said, no, I got to go finish this. I got something I got to do. So I go back into my body. And then all you hear on the video is, oh. And then I wake up. And there's everybody crowded around me, y'all. I'm talking about everybody crowded around me. They thought I was dead. So I get up and I crawl over here to this bench. And I lay on my back, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world had just happened. And these guys started coming over here, and they gathered up right here looking at me, making sure I was all right. And one guy with a cup of water, one little cup of water, y'all. When this thing, something was still in me. It seen this guy with that cup of water, and it sat up, got up on his knees and said, get that away from me. And as soon as he said that, that guy stuck his hand in that water and flung it on me like that. And as soon as that happened, it acted my Kundalini. All this is within in about 15 to 20 minutes. This whole episode played out. But whenever he flung this water on me, it activated my Kundalini. And let me tell y'all something. This feeling right here, if God's love was to touch you, if God's love was to actually touch you, this right here is exactly what God's love would feel like. The Kundalini awakening, y'all. There's nothing else like it in the world. Now, whenever I got up, there was a guy that slept right here in this bed named Christopher. He called me. He said, man, come here and look at this video. So I go back there. I'm crying and laughing, and it felt so good and wonderful, and I was trying to figure out what happened, and I watched that video, y'all, and let me tell you something. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. So here I go. I go downstairs. I go to this bunk. I slept right here on the bottom range in this first bunk, my locker box right there. I crawled up in my bed and went to sleep. And for 2 weeks, I walked around dumbfounded, trying to search, trying to find out what happened to me. Stay tuned for a part 2, y'all. I might tell you part 2. Yeah, I will do a part 2 on this and continue my testimony, my persecution, and my 5th seal. Y'all keep it real out there.